Warning. This show may contain coarse language, awkward silences, incoherent thoughts, inside jokes, misinformation, deep conversations about the nature of existence, depressing themes, as well as some light, offensive humor. Hey, we're people in our early 20s, what do you expect? If any of that bothers you, I don't know, just cover your ears. Anyway, enjoy the show. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 8 Days a Year, the only show where a few mates come together every year to record a year's worth of podcasts in the span of 8 days and slowly upload an episode every week for the following year. It is currently 5 p.m. on the 1st of December, 2020. Once again, because we're still here, my name's Jason.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Liam.
All right, and on today's episode, we are celebrating the holiday, I think it's upcoming holiday, because this episode that you're hearing should be the 22nd of January, and we're going to be celebrating the up-and-coming holiday, Australia Day, on the 26th, I said that already, the 26th of January. Can I grab one too, dude? And we're celebrating by just having a drink with the boys.
Yup.
Right?
As you can see, we have a lot of Mountain Dew here.
A lot of Mountain Dew.
Because we are slowly being drained by this podcast.
We're crashing.
A little bit. Yeah.
We're a little drained.
Oh, boy.
We've been here since we're like not...
We've been here for a very long time.
Very long time.
And we're only, 4 podcasts? This is our 4th one?
Yep.
Holy shit.
We spent a decent amount of time setting up this whole space. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be on track tomorrow to get them all done properly.
Yeah.
But so Australia Day, dude. We all live in Australia, so we're celebrating it.
And what do Australians do on Australia Day? They drink.
They drink, dude. What is this? Vodka?
Yup. Cheers.
There's the bottle right
Water.
there. It's just water, dude. Some of mine has milk in it from the milk.
How is that?
What?
How is that milky vodka?
It was alright. It was weird. It just had a different consistency.
Oh, God.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Milky vodka.
Actually, kind of strange, actually.
Why do I find this so funny?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, man.
It's one shot Brandon, dude. He's already drunk, dude. And he just
I
consumed...
just find it so funny how you drink milk and vodka. That's so weird.
That's the new drink, dude. That's the Jason.
The Jason.
Can I get the Jason, please?
What
And
is
the
that?
and the bartender's like, what is that? It's 1 part milk, 1 part vodka. Can you imagine that? 1 part milk, 1 part vodka?
No.
That's fucking gross.
Delicious. I recommend.
Right.
All right. Well, anyways, what were we going to talk about today, Jason?
Australia Day.
But like specifically, what about it?
How do you guys celebrate Australia Day?
Well, how about the Australian born and raised?
I mean, I'm
Gives us
born and
more
raised,
information
dude.
about that.
We don't celebrate it.
Really?
Yep. No. It's just another day.
None whatsoever.
I mean, I used to celebrate it as a kid. We used to go over to like family friends' houses and just chill, watch the fireworks.
Right.
And now it's just another day. Yeah.
Just another day.
Yep.
Controversial day.
How do you guys celebrate it? Same? Just another day?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I don't even know if I celebrated Australia Day this year. Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't know if I did.
It was during
Yeah, mine
COVID, so we couldn't, right? Wasn't
That's
it?
January still.
Oh. Oh, no, I was overseas. That's right.
Yeah. I think I think I do. No, I don't celebrate it, but like me and my family just watch the fireworks or whatever. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's about it
Yeah.
for me in celebrating Australia Day. What is Australia Day on again? What's the significance of it? I forget. I'm not a historian here. It's the first fleet, right?
Is it the arrival of the first fleet?
Right?
Yeah, I think
That's what it was, right?
Well,
Let me fact check that.
well, this is where the controversy starts, I guess.
Fact checking. Silence.
You know, I find it so funny. Like, there was this unit that I did.
Yeah, the arrival of the first fleet. We're right.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there was this unit I did called Culture to Cultures. And
Yeah.
in that unit, we had to analyze whether we should change the day of Australia Day to another day
Right.
or just, like, abandon the day entirely. And, well, pretty much the reasoning for doing so was that that we're pretty much celebrating the the colonization of like the indigenous people of Australia, and it's a little fucked up because it's just kind of like because of all the genocide and things that happened as a result of that. And yeah, it's pretty controversial. I can't really think of any counter argument to why we probably shouldn't be celebrating a day like that. But like, I want to hear you guys' opinions on that.
What do you think? We don't celebrate it anyway. Right?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
honestly indifferent about it because it's never held any significance to me.
Yeah.
So if it holds a negative significance to people, then I don't see why we should. I don't think it's really my place to say because, again, don't celebrate it and am not involved in the communities that want to get it changed. So
Yeah.
what about you, Jason?
I get it, dude. I don't know why we just don't change it to something else, some
Yeah.
other significant date. I don't know. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. There's been a lot of movements, even with the Black Lives Matter movement that happened earlier this year. Like, a lot of those movements were also trying to like say like change the date because it's not a good date. We should be celebrating. So yeah, like pretty much that is our opinion on that.
And that's why we're celebrating it this week.
To see the other side.
Because we're controversial, dude.
Yeah.
We got it.
We're trying to get those hits.
we actually kind of are.
You see those bastards on the podcast that were celebrating Australia Day?
Any publicity is good publicity, dude.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude. But yeah, I guess we just chose this holiday so we can kind of talk about Australia and us living here.
Yeah.
And our context, our historical and like family kind of context to it.
Yep.
Because I think we might have got into it a little bit.
In the first podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we introduced ourselves a bit, but we didn't elaborate per se.
Yeah.
What about you? Yeah. Can you talk about your family history and how they got here to Australia?
No, I can't. I don't know too much about it.
Wait,
Oh, really?
Hey, would you like another shot?
No.
Is that a yes?
No, I got it. I got to drive later, dude.
All right, Liam.
I'm good, thank you.
I'll
No
take
more
I'll
water for
take
me,
another
thanks.
shot.
Yeah, all right.
I'm taking one on my own. That's so sad. All right.
No. Yeah, no, they were just part of that group, in around in the 60s that just moved over here. The parents thought, like, I think they got a choice to go to Canada or here. A lot of the parents chose here.
What? Oh,
Wait,
It
what?
was
Like,
something like that.
in
It
the
was like,
UK?
yeah, from the UK. There was
Oh,
like some
okay.
immigration thing. This is what my parents, I don't remember it detail for detail, but apparently they got choices and it was like here or Canada or something. I don't know if it was a program or what the thing was there, but a lot of those families moved here.
And your grandparents, I assume, were a part of that wave?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. So
Right.
they moved here when my parents were young, like really young.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So you could have almost been Canadian.
I could have almost been Canadian. Yep, I think so.
Assuming your parents had met in Canada as well. And
Yeah,
procreated At
exactly.
the exact same time.
Your parents met here. Liam.
Yes, they did.
Right.
Yep.
Same.
Yep. Same, actually.
Same. Look at that.
Wow. Perth, the city of love.
The city of love. I don't know if it's well known for that.
There are some romantic spots in Perth, though. Like Elizabeth Key. I don't know
I
if
mean,
it
Elizabeth Quay.
Fuck you.
Oh, here we go. Post-war immigration drive, it was called.
Oh,
Between
nice.
1945 and 1965, 2 million immigrants arrived in Australia.
Right.
So,
And then South Perth Foreshore. That's
South Perth Foreshore.
Yeah,
it's a good spot.
Iconic. Classic.
That's the place where we have all of our DNMs. If you ever go to South Perth Foreshore, it's a great place.
DNMs meaning deep and meaningfuls.
Yep. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, my mom's family actually properly immigrated here. So they immigrated here from Malaysia, and I can't remember what exactly it was for. I think it was because my grandfather, he was an architect, and he found like some work here in Perth, but unfortunately, as he aged, his eyesight got like worse and worse over time. And when it did, he could no longer like do the drawings that he used to do. Excuse me. With like the precision that he used to have. And as a result, he wasn't able to practice architecture anymore. And then on top of that, like there was like this huge like family drama. I'm not going to get into it, but we lost like a shit ton of money.
Wow.
And as a result, my mom had to start working at a very young age. I think she was like 14 or something like that. And she had to pay for like her university fees actually. Like when she got into uni, she had to pay for all of that stuff. And I'm not entirely sure if they even had HECS then. Maybe they had like some sort of like subsidies that could help them like lower the cost of university fees. But as far as I can tell, and as far as like what I've heard from my mom, she pretty much had to put herself through uni by working. And she was doing a double degree as well, which is insane. So very hardworking mom, and like pretty much the epitome of that whole like what is it like the kind of like the American dream, but the Australian version of it.
Yeah.
You know, like you work hard to
You get where you want.
to get to where you want to be, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you come to this new country and you start fresh kind of thing. Like that's pretty much my mom. And my parents, they met in high school. So my dad's experience here in Perth was very interesting. So he grew up in Hong Kong and partly in Brunei as well. And he didn't speak a word of English when he came here, and he was like 14.
Oh, wow.
So he pretty much had to learn like a whole new language. And
Like, how did he come here when he did, like, what was his thought process
So-
of coming here
so-
without knowing anything about, like,
it was pretty much just like my grandparents on my dad's side. So my grandma and grandpa, like they were sort of just like they were told by their peers. I don't even know if I can call them that, but whatever. They were told by people that if you send your kids to Australia, they'll have a lot of opportunities. like if they study there and they they do well in uni and all that kind of stuff. And then my grandparents were just like, all right, we'll send our kids to Perth. We'll send them there and put them in boarding school, and yeah, just let them do their thing. And then that was really, like, it was tough for my dad because, like I said, didn't know a single word of English. I don't even know if he knew how to say the word hello. And like pretty much he there was a lot of struggle, and mind you, this was the 80s, right? So back then there wasn't a lot of like multiculturalism, particularly in the media. In fact, I think Asians were kind of represented as like these really unattractive, nerdy guys. I don't know if you've seen this movie 16 Candles. It was released in the 80s. Surely you've heard of it, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It was a really popular movie.
Yeah.
But the representation of the Asian character in that movie was very, like, by today's standards at least, super offensive. So that was kind of just like a glimpse into the media at the time. Obviously, not all representation was like that, but yeah, I'd say majority of it was like that. And yeah, like the racial tension in high schools back then was like insane. Apparently, according to my dad, like there was like a lot of like racial slurs being thrown around, and definitely isn't anything like it is today. And on top of that, a lot of the other kids that went to the boarding school, they're like from the countryside, and they've never seen another like race of person in their entire life. Like they probably grew up in like these really small isolated communities of just white people. So when they saw my dad, they were just like, who the fuck is this Ching Chong? like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And they were just like, what? How do you say your name? Jin Wei? What the fuck kind of name is that? It was a lot of, like racial tension. And geez, I'm so glad I didn't have to go to high school in the 80s, because that would have been terrible.
Yeah.
And he couldn't speak the language either, so that's even worse, right? So yeah, those are a few struggles that he had to go through, but then he really made it work for him, because now he's working in Brunei and he speaks like really good English, and he's able to make like connections with people that he otherwise wouldn't have if he hadn't gone through that experience. And on top of that, he met my mom through high school. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't exist. So, I mean, like, pretty appreciative of that, glad to exist.
It's always good.
That's good, right? But yeah, like, so that was my parents. And then me coming out of that, I think it was sort of like, I think I kind of had this weird, like, because my parents, I think because of their experiences growing up, they kind of didn't really prioritize Chinese culture very much, like in the household. And as a result, they raised me with English. And it was like, and yeah, like because of that, I didn't learn any Chinese, and I've gotten into that already. But yeah, definitely perpetuated a lot of tension. Well, not tension, but just sort of like identity crises, I think. Like, but as I said, I'm really happy with like my identity and like super proud of it, in fact. And now I'm able to reconnect with my culture by learning the language, and it's great. It's good stuff. But yeah, what about you, Jason? What's your story and your family history in coming to Australia?
Well, I was born and raised in Australia, but my parents probably had their own stories. They, I'm not quite sure, like about the complete timeline, but I think my dad went to like university to study being like a like a like a freaking sailor or something. Like
University.
I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
right.
went to some place to
Okay.
do
Okay.
like a freaking like boat engineer or something
Oh,
like
right.
that. I don't know. But you know, the people in the Philippines, they all heard about the opportunity of like going to Australia and whatnot. So like my dad's from this small island called Bohol or whatever. And my mum's from Samar, this bigger island that's on the east coast, which is, and she was like, they lived. My dad lived pretty good. I guess there was like a farm and everything, and they were pretty well off. And my mom's side was like, they're slightly poorer. They live in like these old villages and whatnot. And there was like shit ton of like sons and daughters and everything because to work the rice fields or whatever.
Work the rice field.
I think they did have a rice field or something.
Oh, so that's so like stereotypically Asian, but like I get that though.
And so they both moved to Australia at some point. I have no idea when they were like pretty young. I think like in their 20s or something like that. Like not too young, but like yeah, I think in their 20s or something like that. Sometime then, and they met. It's interesting because like my like now they're pretty Christian, but they both met at like in Perth at a casino. Hell yeah, dude!
Nice.
And like I don't know what casinos were like back in the day, but apparently that's where they went to go dance and do stuff. You know, like where you would see people dancing, clubbing, or whatever. Like kind of that vibe, I think.
Okay.
So they went and they met each other, and I think what my dad did is he had a picture of himself and he put his number on it and gave it to her. Or something.
Smooth.
Wow, dude, that's so that's so cute. What the fuck?
That's where it came from, dude. I don't know. That's where it all began, I guess, at a casino.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad was like, he was like back then he was like a player type dude. He was
a pimp, dude.
not a him, but like he was like he was like he's not like us. He's like more. He was like one of those partying guys, drink a lot. I think I think maybe.
Is this where your alcohol tolerance comes from?
I don't know.
Because for some reason, this is just like a bit of a sidetrack here, but like for some reason, whenever we drink with Jason, Liam and I are just gone, and then Jason's just like, "Oh, I'm chill.
I'm chill.
I'm chill. What do
I'm
you
just
mean?"
a heavyweight, dude. I'm always in London. I'm just saying. And I'm like, I can handle it. But yeah, my dad, dabbled in drugs or whatever, like using it maybe, and smoking and whatnot. And I think, yeah, just like that kind of stuff. But then you moved to Australia. Was a lot of that there,
Right.
because all of that stuff was in the Philippines or whatever, and all this whatever. But yeah, my parents got together, and then I was born in 2000, February, dude. There you go.
Wow.
And I still live in the same house, and it's like it's evolved over time. Like my dad's has made so many different like he's modified it so much, like it's really different. Like that back area where it's got like the garage for cars, and there's like a white screen for like a projector, and like
Right. Yeah.
there was none of that there. There wasn't even the roof,
Oh wow.
because like a little bit later the roof came in. It was just this veranda area, and then came the walls. Crazy, dude. All of it was just empty. There wasn't anything there. But yeah, that's how my parents got to Australia and where I came from.
That is like so classic. Like that story is like the classic like immigrant story. Like like buying a house and then just like fixing it up over time, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good. And like buying it in like Beachboro of all places, right?
I don't know about fixing it up. You're like, it's a weird Frankenstein of a house. It's just
Yeah.
a bunch of weird things that has been built upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, like our sink that's been there for ages. Like, my dad just renovated it and like changed the sink, like the whole thing,
Oh, really?
the whole basin and cabinet that goes underneath.
Right.
And it's a little weird looking because like the other one like came a little bit further forward.
Okay.
So there's just strip where it's just like it's not the same tiles, and it's weird.
So Liam, you're it's really interesting because like you have never actually lived in like the same place for more than like what 3 years or something like that?
No. I lived in one house like all through primary school and 1 year of high school.
Oh, okay.
So like that was a solid 7 years.
Oh, okay.
That's probably the longest.
Yeah.
That was sort of where I grew up,
Mm.
and then the last one I just came from was sort of where my teen years were, and now I'm just wherever.
So what exactly was the reason for that? Like constant, like your parents always like buying and selling properties and things like that.
That was just how they made their living for the longest time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were just involved in the property market for a while, so
Oh, I see.
just sort of came natural to me. I had a lot of friends that when I was younger, not a lot. I had a few friends when I was younger that were like, "Doesn't it feel? Don't you get like kind of sad leaving your old house?" I'm like, "What? It's a house. Who gives a shit?" But like, I think some families develop an attachment to their sort of place.
Yeah.
I traveled a lot, so I'm just home is wherever I am.
I'm
Yeah.
the same way, honestly. Yeah. So it's always very interesting to like see like how different people's lifestyles have sort of like affected them. Like I'm not going to mention his name, but one of our friends recently moved out of their childhood home, right? Like I think it was like a year ago, and like and I remember like when he was going through that, it was just
Yeah,
like so
big thing,
it was
right?
such a big thing.
And I was like, I don't get it. What?
It was
But
it's
yeah.
rough. Like, how would you feel if you had to move out of your place?
If I wouldn't mind it. I think I'd like to live in a new place. I feel like it would be exciting. I just, I was like I said, I was born and raised like in that. Well, I don't know if I said I was born and raised in that house. So like all my memories from as early as I remember were in that house, and there's something about that connection with that house that, like, I don't know, it means something to me in a sort of way.
Right.
But yeah, Lord knows I'd like to get out of there for other kind of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to get into that on this podcast unless you want to. I mean, it's up to you.
I don't
man.
know.
Nah, probably not. All right.
But yeah, like I really, it's something. It's not like the greatest house out there. It's like a little old and like I said, it's like a Franken house where it's like a bunch of things put together. But it's something beautiful about it. Stories
Yeah.
in that house. Just like it's like a part of my identity is part of that house because of how long have I lived. Like 20 years I've been on this earth has been in that house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me.
I've lived in like multiple different countries though. So it's like I lived here in Perth when I was obviously first born, but then I think like shortly afterwards I moved to Brunei, and then shortly after that I moved to Hong Kong for like a year and a bit, and then I moved back to Perth, and then I moved back to Brunei, and then I moved back to Perth. Like it's
What in the world, dude? That's crazy.
yeah, not like I've lived in 3 different countries technically, and beyond that because my family is so like multicultural. Well, I guess you could say multicultural, even though they're all Chinese, but like all like live in like all these different countries. As a result of that, like to visit all of my family, I have to like go to all these different countries, and like it's been cool. I mean, like I really like it. I really like being able to travel and experience new things and like look at the different like ways of life of different people. I think there's something that's always fascinated me about that. Particularly though, like I think living in another country is something that's like I think I took for granted because when you're there, it's sort of like, oh, this is so boring. It's like the same thing every day, right? But like, you know, if you think about like people that have lived in one country their whole life, they literally like they don't know like anything else outside of that, sort of. I mean, you can educate yourself, obviously, but like you can't really come at it from like a local's perspective, right? But I got to do that both in Brunei and Perth, and I guess like to some extent Hong Kong, and yeah, like it's cool, and it's definitely given me a lot of different perspectives for sure. So actually I kind of wanted to get into this, Jason, but like we sort of got into this like in the first podcast, but we had to sort of cut it short. But like how was it actually like growing up here Filipino Australian?
It's weird because like I grew up not around a lot of Filipino people, I would say, in my like primary school and high school years. There was really this one Filipino guy that I knew from primary school, but he was like half Filipino and half like German or something. There was a fair amount of people where there was like Filipino women that went and married some like white guys in Australia. That kind of dynamic, and it's I think my cousins were that way.
Yeah. Hey Liam, if you want to get a girl, go to the Philippines.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
My cousins are like my cousins.
Me specifically. Oh, because
You're a white Australian guy.
Right. Yeah.
So like my cousins' parents are like that. But like one of my cousin's parents are still together. The other one not so much. But yeah, I don't know. Like actually, I forgot to mention this, but my mom was actually like that too.
Yeah.
She actually married this kind of old white guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize this
crazy.
is the second. Okay.
I know. And like she was really young as well, compared to him. And like he I think it's sad, right? But he died of a heart attack. At a Macca's. That's why I grinned a little. That's why I grinned a little bit when I was about to say that.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Sorry.
Was not expecting that.
I know.
Oh god.
It was probably pretty tragic at the time. But it's like that's some bad publicity right there. Shit. Man dies of heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. It was crazy, dude. What? I'm sorry, what was the question again? I was gonna go back.
I was literally just saying, like, what was it like growing up Filipino Australia?
So, exactly. That's what I was gonna get.
Had a bit too much to drink there, mate.
Yeah, so like I said, there wasn't a lot of Filipinos around, and my parents spoke to me in English, and like whenever they spoke Tagalog or whatever, I didn't really understand. I didn't learn, and I only learned English. And later on, when my parents sort of befriended a bunch of like immigrant Filipinos with their immigrant families as well. So these Filipino kids as well, they came from the Philippines and they speak the language and they eat the food and whatnot. And I always felt like disconnected from that. And like maybe not even that, but because they were all Christian as well, that I might not have related as much. But yeah, so it was like I think I explained a little bit, but like there was a sort of an identity crisis there, whereas like I don't fit in with either side of like the Australian kids who like watched footy and whatever it was or played footy.
That's what we did, mate.
And their parents drank,
No.
and their parents drank VB with the boys. Or whatever it is.
VB, dude. That's so Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't relate with that per se. And it was strange because like I went to like private school, so it was a bunch of like white kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that like, but I sort of just navigated that and just befriended some like sort of outcasty misfit kind of characters.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty decent high school and primary school experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had a similar thing with like, especially in high school. Like when I came back, I definitely did a similar thing where I would befriend the more like I wouldn't befriend the popular kids. I would befriend like the outcasts as well. And we had like our own little like in the quad, right? In the year 12 quad, we had our own little section. And it was like it like oversaw like the entire quad. It was like on this balcony and there was a table on this balcony and we sat there and we were like simultaneously like overseeing everyone, but
Higher than everyone,
but also isolated from everyone. And it was this really weird dynamic. But yeah, actually, Liam,
It's lonely being at the top, isn't it?
the literal top.
how the tides have turned. But like Liam, you're also quite different from your average Australian bloke.
Yeah, a little bit.
So like,
what was your friend group? What would you describe them as? Or like
We didn't really have like, what do you call them? Cliques?
cliques?
Yeah, cliques. Yeah, I don't. They're never really, at least to me, there was never really like the popular kids, or maybe a little bit, but because it was a small year, it was just a small school. I guess just quickly on, I was never part of the sporty kids.
Right.
That was the biggest thing. It's like the more Aussie kids would be the ones kicking footy and doing all the sports.
Yeah.
And the more active ones, I wasn't. So I guess, I don't know. They were all Australian. Most of my friends were like European Australian though, or there were no Asians up in the smaller community that I knew. But yeah, I don't know. I guess earlier on, especially in primary school when it's really small, it was basically like you just had the sporty kids and the non-sporty kids.
Right.
And then there were the few that like I just hung out with. So I've always been sort of in the smaller-ish groups, but I've always had a lot of friends. Like I'd be friends with maybe a couple people in the sporty group. I'd be friends with a couple of people in all these other groups, and then I'd have my friend group. So it's like I've never really been just a group, but I also didn't tag. Like what do you call it? Drifter, where you just like hang. Is that what they call it?
Floater. Maybe?
Floater? Is that?
Nomad.
Nomad.
I'm kidding.
I was never really a floater or anything. I just was just friends with whoever was cool.
Yeah. fair enough.
But I think it was more like it was pastimes. I think the biggest thing. It was like, I never went and kicked a footy when I was a kid. So, but what did most kids do? They go out and play. I went out and played, but it was never like it would always be on the playground or like squirting each other with super soakers or it was never like specific sports. So yeah.
So, but like on top of that, and we've talked about this a lot, but you went and traveled like a lot. Like, growing up, right?
That's true.
And for the longest time, you said like you didn't even know that Asians were like a different race.
Yeah, well, because I spent so much time in Asia as a kid, it was like it just felt like a different place. Because as a kid, when you travel, it's like you just you probably fall asleep on the plane, then you wake up and you're in a new place. It's like.
Right.
Yeah, you don't really realize, actually the world's huge and I'm actually traveling from here to here. It's like, I go on floaty thing and then I'm here.
Yeah.
But I don't think, it was, Europe as well, but Europe was a bit older, but it was mainly Asian countries I remember as a kid, yeah. And I don't know. I think there was a bit of, like, I remember when I started getting, like, when I got my first girlfriend, she was like, I want to travel to all these places. I'm like, I never
Been
thought
there, done that.
I never thought traveling was this big thing because I'd always done
Right,
it. So
yeah.
like when a lot of people, like kids started getting older near the end of high school, they would be like, oh, I really want to travel here or this. And then when they travel, they'd get semi-culture shocked. And I'm like, you didn't know the world was like that? I just grew up like that. And it wasn't like, it just seems to, I didn't realize people didn't, like a lot of people had certain didn't have certain street because we grew up in such a private sort of community.
Yeah.
But I did because my parents taught me that. And not only that, but before they had me and traveled with me, they went to all those dodgy places, like Amsterdam and, you know, all those sort of can be dodgy places.
Dude, Amsterdam sounds so sick.
Where it's like, and in like the 80s and 90s as well, where it's like, you know, so I guess I just, there were just certain things where I was like, to a degree, I was sheltered, but not in that way, you know? I wasn't, it always seemed like when they taught us, like I've said this, when they taught us about racism, I was like, that's bullshit. Nobody's actually racist. And then like, I started to realize, I'm like, oh wait, people are stupid.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, because it never really, it was never a thing for me.
But it was really funny because as soon as you went into uni, you started making friends with all the Asians.
Yeah, I started realizing that I had a lot in common with people that weren't traditional Aussie.
Yeah.
Even like Europeans. Like,
Yeah.
I sort of have more in common with.
And like,
But it is interesting because I do have a vastly significant more like larger group of Asian friends than I do white Australians.
like particularly in uni, right? Like when you started going into your course or whatever. And it's weird because I've met the people in your class. They're mostly white. Like most of them.
I mean, I am friends with some of them.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
got to remember though that the classes that you've seen was not who I first met.
Oh,
so when I
okay.
met those people, I had you guys. So I already had a pre-established friend group.
Right,
Earlier on,
right.
there were a lot of different people because I was ahead of you guys who were in uni prep. So it was like, then it sort of got like balanced.
Yeah.
But before then, it was often like people would just talk about shit that I didn't really care about, like surfing or going to the beach, and you know me and the beach.
Oh my god, yeah.
I just don't. I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but nah. And then I started meeting all these other guys who were like, yeah, I love doing this. I'm like, there are other people like that too. But then at the same time, like I'm meeting people even this year that are Australian, and
Sort
like
of-
I met a girl when we
Right.
were on going on the way to set. And she like had the exact same music taste as me, and like
wow.
was really into music, like knew more than I did. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, someone else understands me." So we just vibed on music. So
Someone else that wasn't like stereotypically Australian, like everyone else that you met.
but yeah.
No, that's really interesting.
But
Sounds
yeah,
hot, dude. Not joking.
Super hot.
Got a boyfriend. Have you met her? Surely you've met her.
Well, that doesn't stop. I'm joking. I'm joking.
That hasn't stopped me before.
I'm joking.
Hey, just because there's a goalkeeper doesn't mean you can't score. Am I right?
That was good. That was good.
Oh, dude.
Anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I think I vibe more with other cultures and other ways of doing things. There are often times like I've been to Germany,
Yeah.
and like the way the cities sort of operate there are sort of more my style than Perth, for example.
Yeah.
I think. And Melbourne as well, but Melbourne's very
Oh.
multicultural.
I mean, like Germany is a very interesting case because like they're
Of their history.
their history, but like I think nowadays they're becoming more multicultural.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
My friend actually lives in Germany, and he's half Filipino as well. Actually, he's half German, half Filipino.
There you go.
I'm not sure if the same situation occurred there.
A Filipino woman going over.
Yeah, could be, but anyways, like he's I think that most Germans are quite like open-minded and really like really down to earth, according to my friend at least. So it's a very interesting place, especially given the historical context. So definitely somewhere that I'd like to travel personally.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, all right. Cool. This has been very interesting.
And this episode was sponsored by Germany Airlines.
Oh my god, we went on for like 45 minutes just on that.
Really?
Yeah.
What time are we at now? 45
47.
minutes?
47
When are we stopping?
Maybe
Somewhere in the 50.
I'm fasting for a piss, dude.
Let's chuck a piss, dude. It's
Just
fine.
here?
Yeah, right. In my mouth.
yeah,
dude.
alright,
In my mouth, dude.
Jason's
I won't.
my dick.
I won't spill, dude.
So funny.
This is my dick real quick.
Oh gosh, dang.
Oh, we gotta keep that in the podcast. Hey, Jason,
It's an inside joke, guys. Don't worry about it. I didn't actually do that. I'm smiling and it looks like I'm lying, but I didn't actually do that.
Oh my god.
But like back when, like, I don't know if you know this about me, but back when I was like in primary school, like early primary school, I wouldn't say sporty, but I was like, I sort of liked being a little sporty at times. You know, I really liked running.
Oh yeah.
I really liked running, but and I played soccer a fair bit.
All right.
Or football for those people out there, you know.
Yeah,
Soccer.
those that live in like Brunei and the UK.
Yeah, so I played
football.
I played a lot of soccer and running, which is interesting story within itself because like I used to come like first place in like running stuff.
Yeah.
And like there was like I think there was like one day in a faction carnival or something where like I had a bad knee or something. And I was running in a race and I was like devastated when I got like last or third or some crap. And I was like, dang, like my legs like messed up my knee. And I just never ran again, dude.
Wow.
Well, I think I did, but I always got like participatory ribbons because I wasn't always getting first anymore. And there was like a demotivational aspect of like that losing that race and my leg being injured. But like, yeah, I used to play soccer, but also I did like cross country. What is it, like marathon stuff?
Yeah.
Like between interschool stuff. And I was like the third pick. I wasn't like the ace. But like, yeah, I did that. But there was this one time, I think early on, where I got a pair of shoes, dude. And it wasn't necessarily new, I don't think, but like secondhand, but I just thought they were amazing. And I was in wonder at these shoes. They like felt great and I felt great running in them. And so I ran everywhere, dude. I remember running down the curb outside my house, just like running the line. And I ran and I just like, it was like magical, dude. It was like sunset. Like, it was like the end of the day. We got home and I was just running everywhere, trying on these new shoes, running everywhere. But then, I ran into the backyard. It was cool. And then we had this little... Have I told this story before?
No, you didn't.
We had this little trampoline thing. I might have said this.
Oh, okay. No, I remember this now. Yeah. Okay, go on.
We have this little trampoline that's like for one person to just jump up and down. I don't know what it's for. It's for something. But I started running towards it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run onto this and then do like a massive jump and it'll be dope and I'll land and it'll be like a fucking superhero landing. And you've heard this before, Liam. I'm just saying it for the podcast. But like I was running, like, I had got these new shoes. I was running, right? And I saw this trampoline, this little trampoline that we had in our backyard. And I ran towards it and I thought that I would like run towards it and then like bounce off and like launch into the air and like land all cool like. But what happened was like I didn't like jump 2 feet on it. I ran and I put like 1 foot on it. And at the speed that I was going and with the spring of the trampoline, it like sort of like launched me up like a little in a direction that I wasn't expecting, and I lost my balance for a bit in midair, and I like put my hands out to stop myself from to land, right?
Yeah.
And I fucking landed on this. That's a massive clap. I landed on my right arm, basically all my weight, and I like had my arm extended.
Yeah.
And it popped my elbow out. I dislocated my arm, dude.
Fuck.
So it was like this great moment for me where I got these new shoes and I was like running all over the place. I thought they were amazing, and I fucking popped my arm out, dude.
Wow.
And it was like
Wow.
so much pain, dude.
Yeah.
And then you're not supposed to do this, but my dad put it back. My dad just went, pop, put it back. He didn't know what to do, so he just did that when you're not supposed to do that, right?
What are you supposed to do?
Supposed to leave it and just bring it to the hospital so they can do it properly. Because you could like damage the nerve endings there or something.
Your arm's fine though.
Or is it? It's fine.
It seems fine.
There's no noticeable difference, I don't think, with my elbows.
I mean, you have pretty good like body coordination. Like you can dance and shit. Like
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not even joking, man. I'm actually very impressed by your dancing skills. I, on the other hand, cannot dance for shit.
No, but it's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I'm the same.
You're the same.
Dude, you and I
Oh, true.
just go at it.
We're like dads.
Yeah, but that's what makes it funny.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Just vibing, dude.
and I had this like sling for like the longest time, and I had to write with my left hand at school. It was so bad. And I had picture day with the sling on. It was great. It was great.
Nice.
Good times, dude. Man, it's 53 minutes now.
Okay. Got to keep going.
All right.
All right.
Well, I mean, let's see. What was I into in primary school?
Like what games did you play? I played soccer a little bit and running.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you do?
I was like, oh man, I don't know. So I swam actually. I was put into swimming lessons because, like I said, I was very uncoordinated. So I couldn't necessarily play all of those like games that required you to be coordinated, like soccer and basketball and all of that. So I ended up picking up swimming, and I was decent, I'd say, but something that I actually have a condition where my rib cage kind of sinks in a little bit, and it like messes a little bit, like just that tiny bit, with my lung capacity and my heart rate. So I'm like sort of physically a little bit impaired when it comes to physical activity. The condition's called pectus excavatum. Like you can look it up for those out there listening and watching. But but regardless, I don't know. I was like still decent at swimming. However, I feel like I could have been a lot better had I don't know, sort of push myself a little bit harder, I think. And with pectus excavatum, I didn't actually know I had this condition until like recently, because I always knew that like, okay, my rib cage is a little weird looking, but I didn't know what it was, right? And it wasn't like very noticeable actually. But it was like just slightly like, okay, why is there like this weird indent in my chest? And I looked it up, found out you can like do exercises that actually help and sort of like mask the condition. And that's exactly my point. Like that's why I got into working out. Because there are specific exercises that you can do that can stretch out your chest.
Such as?
I don't actually know what you call them. I'm going to be honest, but there's like one where you're like lying down sort of perpendicular to a bench, and you have a dumbbell in front of you, and you like do this thing.
It's like tricep overhead lifts.
It's
kind of
sort
thing.
of, but your arms are fully extended, so you're not actually using a tricep.
Okay.
You're actually you're using the muscles like in your lower chest and your abs, and it helps. And on top of that, because of the dumbbell like putting force all the way along your spine, you're actually stretching out your rib cage as well.
Oh, I get it. So it's like a bit different.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it's definitely helped a lot. Like,
Good. Does it physically make a difference?
yeah, I can
Is
show
your
you.
chest okay.
I can show you
All right.
actually. I have
Before and after pics.
Before and after pics.
maybe.
Brandon's chest cavity.
So this is what it kind of looked like before.
I see.
Yeah, okay.
This is what it kind of looked like before. Oh,
Yeah.
right. And then this is what it looks like now.
Okay.
Like that's a massive difference from that to that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it was a lot of hard work and effort, but I think it was definitely worth it, and it definitely helped a lot with my my self-confidence and like mentally as
that
well.
specific thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was pretty insecure about it, like growing
Like
up.
what it physically looks like, or
What it
like
physically looks
how
like,
it
yeah.
affects your health. Okay.
Oh well, the health condition. I mean, like the health, like the respiratory effects of it.
Yeah.
It was sort of like I didn't really notice it growing up, but obviously later on, I kind of realized like, hey, why are they able to like run marathons and like I'm kind of like puffing out halfway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? But yeah, like being able to, I guess, fix that and like make it look a lot better, I think helped me a lot, like with my own self-image, I think, and knowing that I can actually do something about it, sort of having that power kind of also helped a lot with my self-confidence. And like, because I think there's this theory in psychology called self-efficacy, and it is I'm going to screw this definition up because I haven't done psychology since year 12, but like essentially it's defined as the propensity of an individual to believe that they can do something that they want to do, right? So and this has really helped with my self-efficacy, like realizing that, hey, I have this condition, but I can do something about it. You know what I mean? And I did something about it, and it worked.
There you go.
And for those of you guys out there struggling with pectus excavatum, there's hope. Essentially,
Very common condition.
It's
Actually, how common is it?
apparently like 3% of the population has it.
Oh,
I think
wow.
I knew someone in high school who had like a pretty obvious
Pretty obvious
hit in
one.
his stomach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
His chest.
more so than mine.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
really like you could fill it with dip and then like lying down, fill it with dip and just.
Did you do that often?
There's a lot of jokes about like there's a lot of people that like make fun of people with pectus by saying like, oh, I could take a shit in his chest, you know, like you know what I mean? Like it's really
I could take a shit in his chest. Right.
It's such a specific way of bullying someone, dude.
it's really bad. But yeah, like you know, there's a lot of that type of shit going around, and it's not nice. Don't do that.
Take a shit in someone's chest. Damn it, I was planning on it.
You want to take a shit in my chest?
Oh,
bro?
any day, man.
But yeah, I don't know. And also working out definitely, like I said earlier, like helped a lot with COVID, you know? 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, being stuck at home all day. Fuck that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Alright.
Any last final remarks?
I don't know.
See ya.
I still wanted to talk about childhood stuff.
We can do that in the next one.
All right. Okay.
All right, cool.
Anyway, let me sit up for this.
We can do a part 2, our childhoods. Let's go.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for listening, everyone. That was our episode. We talked about fucking Australia and our childhoods. So,
Yeah.
we'll see you next week.
See you around.
See you around.
Or for 5 minutes for us.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold up. It's future Jason here, who is editing this and noticed there was never a proper outro call to action at the end of these things. So here goes. Please, if you want to support the show, follow us on whatever podcasting app you use and give us a good rating. If you're watching the videos on YouTube, like and subscribe. Also, Share this with your friends too. Doing any of these things would help us out a lot. Thanks. I'll let these guys handle the rest. See you next week, guys.
Thanks so much for
and
listening.
have a good night, day, evening, and afternoon.
Whatever you're watching this, have a good one.
Or listening to this.
Or listening
have
to
a
this.
good
Have a good time.
Have a good time.
All right, let's end
Whatever
that there.
time that is.
Goodbye.
Yeah, let's end it.